Assalamu alaikum everyone, my name is Gehad Mursi. I'm a counsellor and coach, and recently I became an educational practitioner in personality traits from the Islamic perspective. So some of you may know it today as the 16 personalities or the Myers-Briggs or the MBTI. It's a similar concept, but it's more from the Islamic perspective, where the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ helped the Sahabas to get into the roles that are suited for their personalities, and how he nurtured the strength of the personalities that each Sahaba holds as well. In a previous conversation in a radio show, I talked a little bit briefly about this, but what I'll be doing today is that I will be giving a breakdown of each personality in order to address the strength of the personalities, if there are some challenges with the personalities, how do we best deal with that? I give an example of a mother who's, for example, got the personality or the organized personality, and the child who's got more of a spontaneous personality. There could be, they could face a lot of clashes and a lot of conflicts in the household. So today in this video I'll be focusing on that specific example, and I'll be expanding a little bit more on it. So if we have, for example, as mentioned in the previous radio show, a mother who's has got the personality traits that are very organized. They tend to, for example, would want the children to wake up at a specific time, go to sleep at a specific time, do their homework on time, be productive, and so on. And if we have the child who's the complete opposite, who's more spontaneous, they more want to, they kind of want to do things last minute. When it comes to their homework or their assignments, they leave it until the night of the submission. If we ask them to do house chores, for example, they really don't want to do it, or they kind of keep postponing and delaying. How do we deal with that? Now, because of their spontaneous personality, we're not going to change that. We will not be able to change it in terms of, getting them to wake up at a specific time or go to sleep at a specific time. It might work in certain areas, but they do need a little bit of flexibility and freedom in their timings. So, for example, a bit of tips here when it comes to house chores. How do we deal with that? If we want them to do a house chore, if we want them to do some, dish, like wash the dishes right now, how do we deal with that? What they will need is a bit more flexibility and a little bit more freedom. So if we tell them to do the dishes, for example, or to do the house chores, or to clean up something in the house, we give them a bit of freedom. So instead of telling them, okay, you got to do this right now, we'll tell them, okay, you know what? At a specific time of the day, from this time to this time, say for instance from 6 to 9 p.m, you need to do the housework, or you need to do the dishes, or you need to do so and so on. So you are ensuring that the chores are done, but you're giving them a bit of flexibility and a little bit of freedom, so that they know it has to be done, but within their nature, within their personality needs as well. They also need a lot of reminders of their duties, because they forget, they postpone or delay, they forget things. So we need to sometimes, keep reminding them, okay, you know what, you've got to submit or you've got to do your work, you've got to do this, and giving them that flexibility. So they need reminders and flexibility and a little bit more freedom. Also a bit of freedom in their own personal space. So for example, their own room. We can tell them, okay, you know what, the whole house needs to be cleaned, but your room is your own space. You have it the way you want. So that freedom in their own space is very important for them. You might come across those children as, when they dress up, their clothes a little bit messy, same as their room a little bit messy. And no matter how much we try to get them to wear certain types of clothes, or, have the room designed in a certain way, or have their clothes in a certain way, they're not going to see it the way we see it, because if we are organized and they're more spontaneous, they're not going to see it that way. So giving them a little bit of freedom on how they have their own personal space. The clothes might look a little bit different to how we see as best as the best to look. Giving them a bit of freedom is quite important in that sense. In terms of submitting their assignments late, in terms of, for example, doing their homework, last minute, or just, for example, in the morning of the submission of the homework, it's important to expect delays from them. So instead of us, having that expectation, no, they have to do it that way, do expect some delays, because expectations can make us feel, if we don't meet our expectations or others don't meet our expectations, it can lead to a lot of clashes. So having that expectations that there will be a little bit of delays or some delays, and also helping them to do what we call reverse planning. So if we have an assignment, as an organized individual, as soon as we are given an assignment, we'll do it immediately. We'll make a start on it or put a plan to complete it. Whereas a spontaneous individual will leave it until last minute, right? So what we do with them is reverse planning. We look at the big picture of the assignment. Okay, this is the assignment, for example, or this is the piece of homework, and then we break it down, go backwards. What needs to be done? For the homework, for example, I need to do a little bit of research about, some sort of topic. How long would that research take us? A day or two. what else needs to be done? I need to speak to the teacher, for example. I need to gather some information from my friends or my colleagues. And how long will that take? Speaking to a teacher might take half a day. Speaking to friends might take another half of the day. So altogether, if the research is going to require 2 days, speaking to the teacher half day, speaking to friends, for example, or do a group study for another half day, that means we need 3 days to complete the assignment. So now they start to think, actually, okay, I can't do it the night before the assignment. I need 3 days. And automatically, because they need to feel that pressure. So automatically, they feel under pressure 3 days early rather than 1 day before the submission. So what we call reverse planning, which is quite important for the spontaneous individual. Now, in terms of making decisions, when we ask them to make a decision, as an organized individual, we want to make decisions immediately. If there is something, we need to decide on it immediately. As a spontaneous individual, they need time. Because for them, it's not about making a quick decision. For them, it's about making good quality decision, or good decision making is important for them. So they need to gather information. They need to check. They need to look into that decision a little bit more before making it. So giving them time to make decision is important, and also asking their opinions, because for them it's not just about making a quick decision. It's about thinking about it, looking into it a little bit more, gathering information, exploring alternatives. So asking their opinions. What do you think about this? And then getting some ideas from them, because they're very creative in that sense. Because of the need to take time to make a decision, they become creative on looking at different alternatives. So asking their opinions, and that also allows them to understand that actually my opinion is valued, right? And then they will be able to strengthen that quality of their personality. So we talked a little bit about the challenges and how we can deal with the challenges. But the strengths, as you can see here, is that they're very good at making decisions in terms of they take their time, so they ensure that it is a good decision. Also, they're great with emergencies. If something happens suddenly, because they like that spontaneity, they'll be able to deal with it immediately. An organized individual need pre-planning to think about it in advance. An example that we can have in the household, visitors coming suddenly. If the parent it's the organizing personality, they're like, what do I do? I'm stuck. What do I prepare now? I can't think. Then this will be the right person to go to the spontaneous child and get their opinions. To say, okay, those visitors are coming suddenly. What do you think we should cook tonight? And then they'll be able to give you suggestions. So utilizing their strength in the right place, and also working on the challenges through some of the tips that I have given.